Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to completely unpack the anatomy of a revolution, specifically looking at George Orwell's classic, Animal Farm. We're going to look at exactly how a pure utopian dream, this incredible vision of total equality and freedom, can begin to show devastating cracks, literally almost the moment it becomes a reality. We're asking the big question, how do the oppressed so quickly become the oppressors? Okay, let's dive into this, because it all starts with a single, absolutely undeniable spark. These are the words of Old Major, the wise, majestic prize boar who gathers all the animals of Manor Farm in the dead of night. And he doesn't sugarcoat it at all. He looks at his fellow creatures, strips away all the illusions, and just names their shared trauma. It's raw, it's powerful, and it immediately sets the stakes for the entire story. The plain truth is, they're slaves and they're miserable. And you can just feel the grim, heavy reality of their situation. The physical misery of these animals is entirely tied to the human rule of Mr. Jones. And the thing about Jones is, he isn't just a tough boss. He's a drunken, deeply neglectful tyrant. I mean, the guy literally forgets to shut the pop holes on the hen houses because he's too intoxicated. It sets up this absolute urgent need for change. The system isn't just unfair, it's actively destroying them through sheer incompetence. Now, to organize a revolution, you need a clear enemy, right? And Old Major astutely identifies humans as a parasitic ruling class. Just think about the sheer airtight logic of his argument for a second. Man gives no milk, he lays no eggs, he's too weak to pull the plow, and yet he's the lord of all the animals. Old Major is giving them an economic and philosophical framework to understand their suffering. He's telling them, hey, your hunger isn't natural, it's manufactured by man, who's just stealing the fruits of your labor. So the crucial point is, the revolution isn't just about getting rid of Mr. Jones. It's about fundamentally rejecting every single thing Jones represents. Old Major lays down these foundational rules. No living in houses, no sleeping in beds, no alcohol, no money. Why? Well, because these are the tools of corruption. These rules are explicitly designed to act as a firewall, basically to prevent the animals from ever adopting the toxic behaviors of their oppressors once they actually win their freedom. But of course, Old Major passes away before the rebellion even happens, leaving the ideological leadership to two younger pigs. And right away, we see a drastically different set of personalities emerging. On one side, you've got Snowball. He's quick-talking, vivacious, bursting with ideas and little committees. On the other side, there's Napoleon, a large, fierce Berkshire boar who doesn't say a whole lot, but has a very ominous reputation for getting exactly what he wants. These stark contrasts aren't just character quirks, they're the major fault lines for future conflict. What's wild is that the actual rebellion doesn't happen through some calculated tactical military strike. Actually, scratch that, it's more like a completely spontaneous explosion of pure frustration. Midsummer's Eve rolls around, Jones goes on a massive bender, and the animals are left entirely unfed. Driven absolutely mad by hunger, a cow breaks into the store shed. When Jones and his men show up with whips, the animals just snap. They fling themselves at their tormentors, and within minutes, they literally kick the humans right off the property. And just like that, the farm is theirs. The pigs take Old Major's philosophy and they codify it into strict laws. They call the whole system animalism, and they paint the 7 commandments on the tarred wall of the big barn in giant white letters. It's a genuinely beautiful moment. They are putting the utopian dream into an unalterable, highly visible law for everyone to see and live by. It's the ultimate promise of fairness. And this brilliantly illustrates the very first structural crack in that perfect utopia. The pigs organize reading and writing classes. But look at the actual results. The pigs achieve perfect literacy. The dogs, they only care about reading the commandments. Boxer, who is the strongest animal on the entire farm, literally cannot get past the letter D. And the sheep and hens can't learn to read at all. So a massive power imbalance is quietly forming right here, based purely on education and cognitive ability. Because the less educated animals can't memorize the 7 commandments, Snowball decides to reduce the complex laws into a single, catchy slogan, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Now, it seems helpful at first, right? But when you strip away the nuance of the law and replace it with a repetitive chant, you create a populace that is incredibly easy to manipulate. The sheep start bleating the slogan for hours on end, entirely turning critical thought into mindless noise. But despite these underlying cracks, the immediate aftermath is just incredible. They call it the golden summer. The harvest they pull in is the biggest, fastest, and most efficient the farm has ever seen. I mean, they finish it in 2 days less than Jones ever did, with 0 waste. Every single animal works according to their capacity, and the food tastes sweeter because it's truly theirs. It's this joyful, euphoric proof that the system can actually work. Right at the center of this golden age is Boxer, the enormous cart horse. He is the absolute muscle of the farm. When there's a problem or when there's a setback, he doesn't complain, he doesn't analyze it, he just adopts his personal motto, I will work harder. His pure, unwavering dedication is super inspiring, but, it's also deeply tragic. His immense physical strength is entirely unchecked by critical thinking, which basically makes him the perfect, unquestioning engine for whoever is in charge. They even create their own traditions. Every Sunday, they hoist a green flag painted with a white hoof and horn, representing the future republic of the animals. They hold general assemblies, they debate resolutions, and they sing Beasts of England. These structured ceremonies are a huge deal. They give the animals a profound, emotional sense of pride, ownership, and unity. They aren't just surviving anymore, They're citizens. But then, just as the high of the revolution peaks, we hit this chilling sentence. The cows are milked. Napoleon stands in front of the buckets and tells everyone to just focus on the harvest, assuring them the milk will be attended to. And when they come back from the fields, the milk had disappeared. It's a massive narrative pivot. It is the exact moment the music stops and you realize something has gone very, very wrong. Well, the mystery doesn't last long. It's quickly discovered that the milk and all the highly prized windfall apples from the orchard are being secretly collected and mixed daily into the pig's mash. This is the first major undeniable betrayal of the core tenet. All animals are equal. The pigs have instantly moved to seize the absolute best resources for themselves, completely cutting out the rest of the farm. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is exactly how the pigs defend this theft. They send Squealer, this highly persuasive talker, to explain it away. Notice, he doesn't say we want it. He claims they need it. He calls the pigs brain workers. He insists, claiming it's proved by science, that milk and apples are absolutely necessary for a pig's brain to function. They are literally using their administrative roles and pseudo-intellectualism to justify structural inequality.
And then Squealer drops the hammer, the ultimate rhetorical trick. He tells the animals that if the pigs don't get the apples, their brains will fail, the farm's management will collapse, and Mr. Jones will return. Surely there is no one among you who wants to see Jones come back. It is a highly effective and utterly sinister tactic. He is weaponizing their shared trauma and fear of the past to silence any complaints in the present. And it works flawlessly.
Meanwhile, let's move on and see how this builds in the background. While Snowball is busying himself organizing all these little committees for the hens and the sheep, Napoleon says he cares more about the education of the young. So he takes 9 newborn puppies away from their mothers, up into a secluded loft, and the rest of the farm simply forgets about them. It's terrifying. He is quietly raising his own secret police force while everyone else is distracted by farming. Look at the stark contrast developing right before our eyes. The promise of the revolution was perfect comradeship, right? A world where no animal tyrannicizes over another, where everything is shared. But the reality? The pigs don't do physical labor anymore. They direct, they supervise, they tell the others what to do, and they secretly change the distribution of resources to feed themselves the very best. It leads us to this really grim realization. The pigs are already setting themselves apart as a completely privileged elite. And why this matters so deeply to the story is that it perfectly illustrates how easily logic, language, and the law itself can be twisted by those in power. They're serving their own selfish interests, for sure, but they're doing it while smiling and claiming it's all for the greater good of the farm. Which leaves us with this final, echoing thought to take away from these early stages of the farm. When a revolution happens, and the oppressed finally break their chains to become the new leaders, how long does it actually take for them to adopt the exact vices, the exact greed, and the exact tyranny of their former masters? It's a pretty terrifying question about the reality of human nature. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. I hope this leaves you with plenty to think about.